Alright, so I put it up to a poll on my Twitter feed. It was this or fantasy tropes, and we're doing this. Oh, fanfic tropes. I would assume you would know that from the title of the video, but can't never really take these things for granted, can you? Anyway, the tiers I've set up for this one are won't read. I hate these tropes so much that if they show up in a tag on like AO3 or FFN, I will not touch it. Depends on the universe. I might be willing to read it if it's for a show or video game franchise or novel series, whatever, that I like. So it's like, I may not be positive on them in general. I won't seek them out, but I'd be willing to give it a chance if it's a setting that I like. No strong opinion. I feel like should be pretty self-explanatory. I don't care. Story could have it, not have it. Not going to go out of my way, but I'm not going to skip it either. And if it's a franchise I'm not all that familiar with, I might still read it. Like if a friend recommends it, that kind of thing. So no strong opinion. And then, of course, love them. I'm a sucker for this kind of thing. If you put it in with the caveat that I'm much more likely to read it if it's a franchise I already like. Okay, I'll be honest. If it's a franchise I hate, I'm not reading it even if you put the tropes I love in there. So just getting that out of the way. But, let's just go ahead and dive right into this because it's a Monday and I want to get this done before Radio Dead Air. It's a Monday when I'm recording this. ABO. Okay, for those who might not know, ABO is a thing. Not a fan of it at all. It just reminds me way too much of that whole alpha male bullshit that a lot of MRAs get into, and it's based on a flawed study about wolves in captivity that even the guy who originally wrote it says is bullshit. So just, no, not into that. If that's your thing, that's fine. I don't particularly go for MPreg either. Amnesia Fix. That really is more depends on the amnesia rather than the universe. I'm going to make an executive decision and put it in depends. Because if it's, like, trying to be realistic, it's probably going to fail because no writer that I'm aware of has ever really portrayed amnesia correctly. It always gets fixed at the end or whatever. If it's like amnesia that is caused by technology or magic, there's some wiggle room in there so that when it's undone, it's like, okay, I'll roll with it. Angst. That's another one for depends on the universe, I think. I'm generally... The thing with Angst is that tends to be the whole purpose of the story. A fic can have a sad scene in it and not be labeled Angst. Angst generally refers to, like, just the whole thing is just, like, maybe unrelentingly bleak except for maybe the end. And that's not really my thing. But I suppose it can be done well. And now that I'm thinking about it, this whole depends on the universe thing should just be shortened to depends, period. That just makes more sense considering the two I've already put there. Arranged marriage? Nope. Baby fic? Also nope. Sharing a bed? That's a pretty big one with shipping stories. The two characters that secretly like each other, or one secretly likes the other, but it's not requited. They end up having to share a bed for one reason or another. No strong opinion whatsoever on that one, sorry. Bang or die, yeah, no, that is not happening. That really only ever worked well in fiction once. The original Star Trek episode, Amok Time. And that was lightning in a bottle. My phone just made a noise. Sorry. Yeah, that's it. lightning in a bottle, nothing I have heard about or read since then has made me feel anything but just ugh about this trope. Body swap, I'm different. I do not like body swap stories at all. And there are some that are technically body swaps that I suppose. I mean, like the communication stones on Stargate. Although, generally with a body swap thing, it's, they try to pose as each other and it never doesn't work. Whereas, like with the communication stones, with a couple of exceptions, they didn't even try. These were the things that were like planned in advance and everybody knew who they were actually talking to, yada yada. The Futurama episode Prisoner of Benda is the only example I can think of off the top of my head where it worked out okay. But generally speaking, stuff like Freaky Friday, vice versa, I honestly don't like them. I tend to hate them most of the time, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, I am not reading the body swap fic. Coffee Shop AU, for those who may not know, it takes all the characters from a work of fiction and changes it so that they all know each other through a coffee shop. It's basically, it's like Friends, sort of. It's like hey, like a Star Trek Voyager coffee shop AU. It's like all these characters, except they're not on a starship. They're all in a coffee shop, and I guess the aliens would be changed to humans or whatever. Yeah, I've never read one. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in no strong opinion. College AU, same deal there. No strong opinion. Crackfic. The joke there is that someone would have to be on crack to come up with it. My attitude towards that is, I am so sorry that you have such a lack of imagination that you can only imagine people coming up with odd concepts if they were on drugs. That one's going in depends. Crossover also depends. Depends on what's being crossed over with what. I mean, for example, I'm writing a story that is sort of a crossover between Mass Effect and Saints Row. That might not be everyone's cup of tea. Yeah, Dark Fic, I think someone has explained this to me once. I don't really know what the difference between Dark Fic and an Angst is. I'm guessing... Okay, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go ahead and look it up, and then I'll just cut that part out of the finished video. Okay, so it means intentionally disturbing material. Yeah, I'm weak. So, well, okay, I'm not always weak, but I do tend to try to avoid stories with things like a lack of consent, to put it kindly, and to also... Oh, wait, this channel's not monetized anyway. I'm talking about rape scenes, guys. Major character death. That's another one that depends. Personally, I'm only speaking for myself here, I find that major character deaths in fics tend to really only work in cases where the character was never that great to begin with, or, as something I've done in my own, it's if the actor wanted off the show, but the producers wouldn't release them from their contract. Canon Divergence. Generally, when I write, I try to change as little as possible, especially if I'm making one big change. I figure not changing everything would kind of help make it more acceptable to the audience. But I think all fics are canon divergent to a certain extent. I mean, it's possible to write a story in a way that it would just not contradict anything within the official material, without canon divergence, you wouldn't have fanfics to begin with, so I'm going to go ahead and put that one up in the love it category. Hey, first one. Nice. Enemies to lovers. Pretty self-explanatory. Not a fan. Established relationship. I tend to prefer those, to be honest. It means that that the couple, or... Well, it is pretty much always a couple. Polyamory is not something you see in a lot of mainstream fiction. It's canon. The writers wrote them to be that way. Not that of course I don't only read that. That would be boring as fuck, but I like it when, they're like explored from different angles or something. Fairy tale AU. Sort of in the same vein as coffee shop AU and college AU. I don't have like any inherent hatred for it or anything. It's fine. It's just not something I'm particularly interested in, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Won't read. Although I will be fair and say that I would definitely prefer it over any of these other ones here. Fake relationship, pretending to date, no, not a fan. Fix it fix. Granted, that depends on how they're fixing it and why, but generally speaking, it's like someone trying to take something in a show or book or whatever that really shouldn't have been done and doing it better. Yeah, I'm down with that. Fluff, feel good stuff. Yeah, definitely down with that. Friends to lovers, same deal. Genfic, fics that avoid sexually explicit stuff. Yeah, not against porn or anything, but I probably prefer genfics. Wow, Love 'em went from like empty to second most filled category really quick, didn't it? Hurt comfort. If it's one part of a larger story, I can live with it. If it's the whole thing, on the other hand, for those who may not know, hurt comfort basically means one character has been seriously hurt, either physically or psychologically, and the other character is caring for them. And a hurt comfort fic, that's the whole thing, and I'm not interested in that. I will go ahead and bump it up to depends, however, because, say, like a chapter of a larger story that has hurt comfort elements in it can be fine. And one could argue that one of the chapters I put in my Star Trek Voyager fic fit that bill, so that one's going to go into depends. Historical AU? Maybe. I've not read any that I'm aware of. I'm willing to give it a shot, at least. It occurs to me that maybe depends should go over no strong opinion on the ranking list here. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then put historical AU on depends. It's going to depend on the universe and the setting, but if someone can, recommend me some historical AUs they think I might like, I'm certainly open to it. High school AU? No. I didn't even get to go to high school, so it wouldn't really mean anything for me. Huddle for warmth? No strong opinion. And I also think it's pretty self-explanatory. Humor? I love a fic that's funny. In vino veritas, meaning drunken confessions. Oh, that is something that really requires a good writer to handle properly. So I'm going to put that in depends. It really depends, because that could go so many bad ways. First kiss, no strong opinion. Magic AU. No strong opinion. Miscommunication? Nope. Hate it. Hate stories where the plot requires people to not talk to each other to move it along, unless there's a damn good reason for them to not be talking to each other in that moment. Missing scenes. Those can be interesting. Mutual pining. I'll admit, there's a certain appeal to the kind of story where it's like you got two people who are in love with each other, but neither of them is willing to say it, and it can kind of spark, third-party characters going. It's like, okay, these two idiots need our help. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in Love 'em right there. Sex Pollen, that one's way too close to Bang or Die for my taste, so fuck that noise. That's not going anywhere other than Won't Read. And of course the outdoor noise is getting louder because this neighborhood hates me. I think that the term sex pollen is derived from an episode of classic Star Trek, and unlike Amok Time, it was not a particularly great episode. I don't have any fond memories of that one. Pregnancy fic, yeah, unless they're pregnant in canon, I'm not really interested. Porn without plot, it's not my bag, but some people might like it. Royalty AU, fuck the monarchy. Slow burn. I generally try to read shorter fics when I can, because I barely have enough time for a lot of the shit I'm trying to get done most days anyway, but I'll put that one in depends. Soulmate AU. In concept, I think it's interesting. I think it probably can be done well, but I haven't particularly read any, or at least none that I can remember, so maybe I should try reading some before I really... Yeah, I'll put that in no strong opinion, because I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. Time Loop. Never read a Time Loop fanfiction. I've seen Time Loop movies, Groundhog Day. I've seen Time Loop episodes of TV shows, Cause and Effect on Next Generation. That one Buffy episode was pretty decent. Oh, Stargate and Stargate SG-1 and Legends of Tomorrow both have really good Time Loop episodes. That said, again, I have never read a fanfic, and this is a fanfics trope video, tier ranking, that uses it, so I don't know how well that would work. So, on that ground, I am putting it in depends, because I imagine it would depend a lot on the universe and on who's writing it. Love Triangle, fuck that noise. Unhappy ending, you can do it, but you gotta earn it. You can't just put it in there to fuck with people. It has to fit with the story, because, happy endings, unhappy endings, I will take either, as long as neither of them feel like they're shoehorned in. You earn your unhappy ending, you earn your happy ending, you earn your ambiguous ending, too. Let me go ahead and throw that in there. So yeah, unhappy ending totally goes into depends. And then unrequited love, that reminds me too much of my own personal life, so fuck that noise, that is going into Won't Read. And there you have it. Not much more to say than that. Hopefully I didn't talk too fast for everybody, but it's really hot in here and I want to get that fan turned back on. So, see you for the next tier ranking video, which I'm probably just going to go ahead and do the Fantasy Tropes one and not bother with a vote. Oop. Live, everybody. Alright. Have fun. Wow, that outdoor noise is still going. Can you hear that, or do you just think I'm crazy?